Chosen one. Out of 8.2 billion people on this earth, no one has what you have in the exact way you have it. Not your spiritual fingerprint, not your inner knowing, not your strange ability to feel what others hide, not your rare combination of pain, mercy, discernment, patience, and purpose. And before your mind tries to reject that, listen carefully. This is not about ego. This is not about being better than anyone. This is about finally understanding why your life has always felt different. You have sensed things before they happened. You have carried people who never understood your weight. You have walked through seasons that should have made you bitter, yet somehow they made you deeper. You have been hidden, overlooked, copied, drained, questioned, and still something inside you refused to die. That is not random. A higher intelligence has guided you into this moment because the part of you that was buried is ready to be named. What you carry cannot be stolen because it was formed in secret. It cannot be copied because it was sealed through your story. And today, you are going to understand why heaven trusted you with something so rare. But first, you need to understand what this rare thing actually is. Because for years, you may have thought it was just your personality. You may have thought it was just the way you were raised, or the way pain shaped you, or the way life forced you to become more aware than other people. But it is deeper than that. There is a spiritual fingerprint on you, not the kind people can measure with their eyes, not the kind that announces itself loudly, not the kind that needs applause, attention, or public approval. This fingerprint is quiet. It moves through your instincts. It speaks through your peace. It warns you through discomfort. It rises in your chest when something is not aligned. It pulls you away from rooms that look good on the outside, but feel wrong on the inside. You have always had it. You felt it when you were younger, even if you did not have words for it. You could walk into a room and feel the mood before anyone explained anything. You could look at someone's face and sense that their smile was hiding something. You could hear a sentence and know there was another sentence underneath it. You could be around certain people and feel your energy become heavy, even when they had done nothing obvious. And because no one taught you how to understand that, you blamed yourself. You called yourself too sensitive. You called yourself difficult. You called yourself overthinking. You called yourself dramatic. But chosen one, what if you were not overreacting? What if you were spiritually responsive? What if your system was not broken, but awake? What if your sensitivity was not weakness, but discernment before language? This is why certain places have never felt right for you, even when everyone else seemed comfortable there. This is why shallow conversations drain you faster than physical labor. This is why you can forgive people and still know you cannot give them access anymore. This is why you can love deeply, but something inside you refuses to stay where your spirit is slowly dying. You were not created to live disconnected from truth. You were not created to keep smiling in places where your soul is warning you. You were not created to betray your own knowing just to make other people comfortable. That is one part of what you have, a spiritual fingerprint, a way of sensing, seeing, feeling, and knowing that no one else carries in the exact same way. But there is another part, and this is the part many chosen ones resist, because it touches the pain. Your gift was not only placed in you, it was formed through you. The things you survived did something. The disappointments, the betrayals, the closed doors, the long nights, the seasons where you prayed for one clear sign and only heard silence. The moments where you had to be strong because no one was coming. The years where people used your kindness but did not honor your heart. None of it was meaningless. That does not mean it was easy. That does not mean it was fair. That does not mean you should pretend it did not hurt. Some things hurt deeply. Some losses changed the way you looked at life. Some betrayals made you question whether you would ever trust again. Some seasons were so heavy that even getting through the day felt like a private victory no one could see. But listen to this. What felt like isolation was also separation. What felt like rejection was also redirection. What felt like delay was also development. What felt like silence was also formation. What felt like being buried was also being rooted. You were not being erased. You were being prepared. There are some things that can only be formed in hidden places. A seed does not become a tree by being displayed. It becomes a tree by going underground first. It disappears from sight. It loses the shape it once had. It sits in darkness long enough for something invisible to begin. And if you judged the seed only by what was happening above the surface, you would think nothing was moving. But underneath, everything is moving. That is what happened to you. There were seasons when people thought you were doing nothing, but your roots were growing. There were seasons when people thought you were falling behind, but your discernment was sharpening. There were seasons when people thought you had lost your fire, but the flame was being protected from the wrong winds. This is why you had to be alone at times. Not because you were unwanted, not because you were forgotten, not because you were too hard to love, but because there are parts of you that would have been contaminated if everyone had access to you during your formation. Some people would have pulled you back into an old identity. Some people would have used your gift before you understood it. Some people would have praised the version of you that served them while resisting the version of you that was becoming free. So life started removing what your heart was still trying to hold. And that hurt. It hurt because you are not cold. It hurt because you do not release people easily. It hurt because you remember the good, even when the truth tells you to move on. It hurt because part of you kept asking, did I do something wrong? Did I push them away? Am I becoming selfish? Am I changing too much? No, chosen one. You were not becoming selfish. You were becoming honest. You were not becoming hard. You were becoming clear. You were not losing love. You were learning where love can no longer be confused with access. And that clarity is part of what makes you rare. Because many people go through pain and become bitter. Many people get rejected and become cruel. Many people are betrayed and decide never to trust anything again. Many people are misunderstood and spend the rest of their life performing for approval. But you are still here, still feeling, still hoping, still listening, still trying to become more whole instead of more guarded. That is not normal. That is evidence. Your survival is not the rarest thing about you. The rarest thing is what survived inside you. The mercy that survived. The intuition that survived. The softness that survived. The hunger for truth that survived. The inner voice that kept whispering, there is more than this, even when everything around you tried to convince you to settle. This is why people cannot copy you. They can copy your words, but not the weight behind them. They can copy your style, but not your formation. They can imitate your kindness, but not the battles that purified it. They can repeat what you say, but they cannot carry the authority of a life that had to learn those truths in the dark. Authority is expensive. Presence is expensive. Discernment is expensive. And you paid for what you carry in ways many people will never know. That is why you must stay with this until the end. Because before this message is finished, you are going to understand why your difference is not a mistake, why your pain formed capacity instead of destroying you, why your original brilliance may have gone dormant but not dead, and how to begin protecting what only you can carry. Not with fear, not with pride, but with clarity, peace, and responsibility. Because what you have is not just for you. One day, someone will need the exact wisdom your pain gave you. Someone will need the exact words you were afraid to speak. Someone will need the exact kind of presence you bring into a room. Someone will need proof that a person can be wounded and still become light. That is why your life has been so different. You were not being trained for a shallow assignment. You were not being prepared for a copied path. You were not being shaped to become a softer version of someone else. You were being formed into yourself. And that is the part the world could never understand. The world often rewards sameness. It praises people who move like the crowd, think like the crowd, speak like the crowd, and desire what the crowd desires. But something inside you never fully accepted that rhythm. Even when you tried, You could not stay asleep. You could not ignore what your spirit knew. You could not laugh at things your soul found empty. You could not keep pretending that a life without purpose would be enough. There was always something pulling you deeper, something calling you away from noise, something making you uncomfortable in places where other people felt entertained, something making you restless when your outer life looked fine, but your inner life knew you were not aligned. That restlessness was not punishment, it was a compass. Your discomfort was not always an attack. Sometimes it was direction. Your loneliness was not always abandonment. Sometimes it was a sacred pause. Your exhaustion was not always weakness. Sometimes it was your spirit refusing to keep carrying what was never yours. And now, something in you is beginning to recognize the pattern. You have been guided, even through the detours, even through the losses, even through the moments that looked like endings. There was a thread running through your life, and that thread never broke. It stretched through your childhood, through your heartbreaks, through your silent prayers, through your private tears, through the seasons where nobody clapped for you, through the seasons where you had to choose faith without evidence. And if you look closely, you will see it. The same inner knowing kept returning. The same strange pull kept calling. The same quiet strength kept rising. The same light kept surviving. This is what heaven recognizes in you. Not perfection, not performance, not the image you tried to maintain when you were exhausted. Heaven recognizes the thing that stayed alive when life gave you every reason to let it die. And yet, there is one more layer, because many chosen ones are not only carrying a spiritual fingerprint, they are carrying a brilliance that became buried under survival. Think back to who you were before the world became so loud. Before disappointment trained you to lower your expectations. Before pressure taught your mind to stay guarded. Before people made you feel strange for knowing things, feeling deeply, imagining freely, and believing life could be more magical than what everyone accepted. There was a version of you that learned quickly, a version of you that felt deeply, a version of you that imagined without shame, a version of you that sensed possibility everywhere, a version of you that did not need permission to believe. And somewhere along the way, that version did not disappear. It went quiet, not dead, dormant, buried under stress, buried under survival, buried under the need to be practical, acceptable, useful, strong, and safe. But what is dormant can awaken. What is buried can rise. What is sealed can open at the right time. And this is where the next part of your understanding begins. Because there is a hidden switch inside the human mind, a place where clarity, intuition, creativity, and inner alignment begin to move together again. Most people never learn how it was dimmed. Most people never realize why they feel separated from the brilliance they once carried. Most people spend their whole lives thinking they lost themselves, when in truth, something inside them is waiting for the right sound, the right truth, the right moment, the right awakening. Chosen one, your gift was not gone. Your light was not gone. Your knowing was not gone. Your original frequency was not gone. It was waiting beneath the noise. And when you understand what has been sleeping inside you, you will finally understand why no one on earth has what you have. And what has been sleeping inside you is not ordinary. It is not just talent. It is not just intuition. It is not just the ability to survive hard things. It is not just a soft heart, or a sharp mind, or a deep soul, or a strange sense that you were made for something more. It is the combination. That is what makes you rare. Many people are kind, but they are not discerning. Many people are discerning, but they have become cold. Many people are strong, but they have lost tenderness. Many people are tender, but they collapse under pressure. Many people are spiritual, but they are not grounded. Many people are grounded, but they have lost the ability to believe in what cannot yet be seen. But you carry something different. You have kindness that has been tested. You have discernment that has been sharpened. You have softness that survived cruelty. You have strength that does not always need to announce itself. You have a strange inner knowing that keeps speaking even when the world around you is loud. And that combination is not common. This is why people have never been able to fully explain you. They may call you quiet, but they do not understand the amount you are observing. They may call you emotional, but they do not understand how much your spirit is processing. They may call you distant, but they do not understand that you are protecting a part of yourself that has been mishandled too many times. Some people only see the outside of you. They see the way you speak. They see the way you work. They see the way you show up for people. They see the way you keep going, even when life has been heavy. But they do not see the system behind it. They do not see how many times you had to calm yourself in private so you could be gentle in public. They do not see how many times you knew the truth but chose silence because the moment was not ready. They do not see how many times you wanted to walk away from everything, but something inside you whispered, "Not yet. Keep going." That whisper matters. That whisper is part of what you have. There is a seer in you. Not because you know everything, and not because you should pretend to, but because you notice patterns. You notice when someone's words and energy do not match. You notice when a situation is changing before it becomes obvious. You notice when a place that once felt safe begins to feel heavy. You notice the shift before the announcement. There is a light bearer in you. Not because you are always happy, and not because you never struggle, but because even after dark seasons, something in you still carries warmth. People can sit near you and feel seen. People can speak to you and suddenly say things they did not know they needed to say. You bring something into rooms that cannot be forced. There is a cycle breaker in you, not because you wanted that role, but because life kept showing you patterns that could not continue. Patterns of silence, patterns of people-pleasing, patterns of shrinking, patterns of surviving instead of living, patterns of mistaking chaos for love. And somewhere inside you, a voice rose up and said, "This ends with me." There is a wounded healer in you. Not because pain made you superior, but because pain gave you language. You know what it feels like to be overlooked. You know what it feels like to smile while carrying something heavy. You know what it feels like to need comfort and receive judgment instead. And because you know that pain, you can recognize it in others without them explaining everything. There is a voice in you, even if you have been quiet, even if you have been afraid, even if you have spent years thinking, no one would listen. There is something inside you that can say what others feel, but cannot form into words. There is something inside you that can name hidden things. There is something inside you that can bring clarity where confusion has ruled for too long. This is why your presence has always carried weight. Not because you are trying to dominate a room. Not because you need attention. Not because you want to be seen as special. But because what is inside you speaks before you speak. Some people feel safe around that presence. Some people feel exposed by it. Some people are drawn to it. Some people become uncomfortable and do not even know why. That is not your responsibility to manage. You are not here to make your light smaller so every shadow feels comfortable. But you are here to understand the weight of what you carry. Because rare things require wisdom. A rare gift without wisdom becomes exhaustion. A rare sensitivity without boundaries becomes suffering. A rare calling without clarity becomes confusion. And a rare presence without protection becomes something people use until you forget it was sacred. This is why the gift has felt heavy. It was not only because people misunderstood you. It was not only because your life had hard chapters. It was not only because you were delayed, rejected, or hidden. It was because your gift has been operating under pressure. You have been trying to carry something sacred while surviving in environments that trained you to ignore it. And that is why so many chosen ones feel like something inside them is locked. You know there is more in you. You know your mind is capable of more. Your intuition is capable of more. Your focus is capable of more. Your creativity is capable of more. Your spiritual connection is capable of more. but sometimes it feels like there is a veil over it. You can feel the gift, but you cannot always access it. You can sense the calling, but you cannot always move toward it. You can imagine the life, but you cannot always hold the frequency long enough to build it. You can hear something inside you saying, there is more. But then the weight of life comes in, and suddenly your mind is foggy again, your energy is low again, your hope is quiet again, and your old survival patterns begin speaking louder than your spirit. And then you ask the question so many chosen ones ask in silence. What happened to me? You remember being different before the world became so heavy. Maybe when you were younger, ideas came easily. Maybe your imagination felt alive. Maybe you could learn quickly, sense deeply, dream vividly, and believe in possibilities without needing proof first. Maybe there was a time when life felt more enchanted, more open, more responsive, as if something invisible was moving with you. Then pressure came, expectations came, disappointment came, fear came. People told you to be realistic. Pain taught you to be guarded. Rejection taught you to hide parts of yourself. Responsibility taught your nervous system to stay alert. And slowly, the part of you that once moved with wonder began to move with caution. You did not become less chosen. You became defended. You did not lose your gift. You learned to cover it. You did not become ordinary. You became buried under survival. And this is the false story you must release. You are not broken because you cannot always feel your brilliance. You are not fake because you have moments of doubt. You are not disconnected because your mind gets tired. You are not unchosen because your clarity comes and goes. Dormant does not mean dead. A sleeping fire is still fire. A buried seed is still alive. A sealed letter still has a message inside. And the reason this matters is because what is dormant can awaken when it is touched by the right truth, the right environment, the right rhythm, the right sound, and the right state. There is a part of your mind and spirit that was designed for clarity, a part designed for flow, a part designed for deep knowing, a part designed to recognize patterns, receive insight, and move with a kind of inner intelligence that feels almost sacred when it is active. Some people call it intuition, some people call it inspiration, some people call it flow, some people call it a higher state of consciousness. But what many people do not realize is that there is also a scientific doorway into this state. For years, researchers have studied certain brainwave states connected to focus, creativity, intuition, learning, and those sudden moments where the mind seems to open. Moments where the answer arrives before you force it. Moments where your thoughts become clear. Moments where you feel connected, awake, and strangely aligned. One of those states is connected to gamma. Gamma is often associated with heightened awareness, deep learning, insight, and the kind of mental clarity that feels like the mind is finally operating the way it was meant to operate. And this is where the spiritual and the scientific begin to touch. Because what many chosen ones describe spiritually, science often sees as a state, a frequency, a pattern of the brain coming into a higher level of coordination. And if you are honest, you may know exactly what it feels like when that state is missing. Your prayers feel heavy, your thoughts feel scattered, your ideas come slowly, your intuition feels distant, your decisions feel harder than they should. Your life feels like you are trying to hear a quiet voice through static. But when that state begins to return, something changes. You do not become someone else. You become more available to yourself. The fog begins to lift. The inner signal becomes easier to hear. Your mind stops fighting itself for a moment. Your spirit can breathe. Your thoughts begin to connect. Your energy begins to feel less like survival and more like possibility. This is why I want to say something very carefully here. There is a tool I found that connects directly to this idea of awakening the dormant brilliance inside you. I am not bringing it up as a magic trick. I am not bringing it up as a replacement for wisdom, discipline, prayer, healing, or responsibility. And I am not saying one audio track will do the inner work for you, but for those who feel that their original clarity, intuition, and inner genius have been buried under stress, survival, and years of mental noise, this may be worth exploring. It is called The Genius Song. It is a 7-minute digital audio track designed to be listened to with headphones. The idea behind it is brain entrainment, using sound to help guide the brain toward a gamma state, the state connected with higher focus, insight, creativity, and flow. And the reason this connected so deeply with me is because it does not frame you as broken. It frames you as dormant. It speaks to the chosen one, who remembers that there was once more ease, more imagination, more spark, more knowing, more magic inside them. It speaks to the person who feels like modern life, pressure, disappointment, and survival have turned the volume down on something God-given inside them. And maybe that is exactly how you have felt. Not empty, muted, not powerless, covered, not lost, dimmed. There is a difference. The story behind The Genius Song is that Dr. Robert Lake, a neuroscientist with decades of experience, developed this audio as a way to help activate gamma through sound. It is not meditation. It is not a mantra. It does not require you to wake up at 4 in the morning, sit for an hour, or force your mind to be silent when your life has already been exhausting. You listen for 7 minutes. That is it. And again, hear me clearly. This is not about promising that your whole life will change overnight. That would not be honest. A sacred tool is still a tool. You must still make choices. You must still protect your energy. You must still walk in wisdom. You must still become responsible for what you carry. But sometimes the right tool can help clear the static around what is already inside you. Imagine your mind like a radio that has been tuned to survival for too long. The message is still there. The station is still broadcasting. But the signal is covered in noise. The Genius Song is designed like a frequency adjustment, a 7-minute ritual that helps the inner dial move toward clarity again. And when I think about the chosen one, that matters. Because your problem was never that you had nothing inside you. Your problem was that life covered the signal. There is a story that reflects this beautifully. A teacher in her 40s had spent years helping other people grow, while privately feeling like her own mind was running at a fraction of what it used to be. She described it as if her brain was working at 30%. She could still function. She could still show up. She could still do what needed to be done. But the spark was missing. After beginning a simple 7-minute listening ritual, she said something started to shift. Ideas came more naturally. Decisions she had delayed for months became clear. It was not that she became a different person. It was that she started feeling access to herself again. That is the language. Access. Because some of you do not need to become gifted. You need access to the gift that has been buried. Some of you do not need to become intuitive. You need the noise to lower so your intuition can speak. Some of you do not need to become chosen. You need to stop living as if survival is the highest state available to you. Now, I know what part of you may be thinking. You may be thinking, I have tried so many things already. You may have tried meditation. You may have tried motivational routines. You may have tried spiritual practices that sounded beautiful, but did not change the fog in your actual life. And I understand that hesitation. But this is different in its approach. Meditation can take months or years for some people to enter deep states consistently. Traditional biofeedback therapy can be expensive. Certain devices can cost thousands. But the Genius Song was created as a simple 7-minute audio ritual that you can use at home with headphones without needing complicated training. The original price is $49, but there is a special price of $39 for those who feel called to explore it through this message. And with it, there are also bonuses included, like additional audio support, a guided visualization, and practical material to help you stay aligned with the future you are trying to build. There is also a money-back guarantee. which matters because you should never feel pressured into something like this. If it does not feel right for you, or if you do not feel a difference, you are not trapped. You can receive your money back. That is important, because this is not about pressure. This is about resonance. If your spirit feels nothing when you hear this, leave it. Keep receiving the message. Keep walking your path. But if something in you recognizes the idea of a 7-minute ritual to help clear the static around your dormant brilliance, I left the link in the description and the pinned comment. Use that link only. There are fake versions and imitation products that use the name but do not carry the same brain entrainment, technology, the bonuses, or the guarantee. Do not search for it randomly on Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, or other places and assume it is the same thing. If you feel led to explore it, use the link in the description and pinned comment so you know you are looking at the correct version. And then come back to the deeper truth. The tool is not your gift. The sound is not your assignment. The ritual is not your identity. It is only a support for what is already inside you. Because what heaven placed in you was never limited to a product, a practice, or a method. What heaven placed in you is alive, and any tool that helps you access that life must serve the assignment, not replace it. You are not rare because of what you buy. You are rare because of what you carry. You are not chosen because of an audio track. You are chosen because something in you has survived every season that tried to bury it. You are not powerful because a tool makes you powerful. You are powerful because your original design has not disappeared. The tool may help clear the noise, but the signal is you, and now you need to understand what that signal is for. Because once the fog begins to lift, once the inner knowing begins to return, once the gift becomes clearer, the next temptation is to think it is only about feeling better. But this is bigger than feeling better. You were not given discernment only so you could avoid pain. You were not given sensitivity only so you could feel more. You were not given survival only so you could say you made it. You were not given a voice only so you could keep it locked inside your chest. You were not made rare so you could hide. I hear this strongly in my spirit. I did not make you rare so you could disappear. I did not form you in secret so you could stay silent forever. I did not protect your light through all those dark seasons so you could spend the rest of your life apologizing for it. That is the mega truth. You are not rare by accident. You are rare by assignment. The gift has a direction. The pain has a purpose. The sensitivity has a function. The discernment has a responsibility. The voice has a destination. And this is where many chosen ones become afraid. Because deep down, they know the gift will require them to be seen. Maybe not by millions. Maybe not on a stage. Maybe not in the way the world defines visibility. But seen in the places where their obedience matters. Seen by the people they are meant to help. Seen in the rooms where their truth must be spoken. Seen in the relationships where they can no longer shrink. And that kind of visibility can feel terrifying. You may want the breakthrough, but fear what it will demand from you. You may want the door to open, but wonder if you are strong enough to walk through it. You may want the assignment to become clear, but fear losing the old version of life that kept you safe. You may want to be used for something meaningful, but part of you whispers, what if I fail? What if I am not ready? What if they see me and realize I am not enough? Listen carefully. That fear is not proof that you are unready. Sometimes fear is proof that you understand the weight. People who have no awareness often rush into rooms their character cannot sustain. But you have been slow because you know this matters. You have hesitated because you do not want to mishandle what is sacred. You have questioned yourself because you can feel that the next version of your life is not casual. But hesitation cannot become your home. You can respect the weight without refusing the call. You can move carefully without hiding forever. You can be humble without shrinking. You can be nervous and still obey. Look at Esther. She did not ask to be positioned where she was. Her life moved through hidden preparation, uncertain timing, and circumstances bigger than her personal comfort. For a while, her identity was concealed. Her purpose was not obvious. But when the moment came, her hiddenness became positioning. She was not placed there for decoration. She was placed there for a moment, and chosen one. This is why your life has had so many strange turns. Some doors closed because they were not connected to your assignment. Some people left because they could not go where your spirit was being prepared to go. Some delays protected you from being seen too early. Some quiet seasons taught you how to hear guidance without applause. You were being positioned, not punished. Positioned, not forgotten. Positioned, not wasted. Positioned. And now the question is no longer, why am I different? The question is, what will I do with what only I can carry? Because no one can carry your exact assignment for you. Someone else may have a similar gift, but not your exact story. Someone else may have wisdom, but not the wisdom your pain carved into you. Someone else may have a voice, but not the tone that comes from your healing. Someone else may have light, but not the particular light that survived your particular darkness. This is why comparison is such a trap. When you compare yourself to others, you insult the specificity of your formation. You begin measuring your sacred blueprint against someone else's visible chapter. You start asking why your path does not look like theirs, without realizing your assignment was never supposed to require their road. Your timing is different because your assignment is different. Your process is different because your capacity is different. Your battles were different because your medicine is different. Your sensitivity is different because your field of service is different. That is not a flaw. That is design. And now, as this part closes, you must let this settle into you. What you have is not random sensitivity. It is not just childhood imagination. It is not just pain that made you cautious. It is not just intuition that comes and goes. It is a rare inner design, a combination of spiritual perception, emotional depth, tested mercy, quiet strength, hidden brilliance, and a calling that keeps returning no matter how many times life tries to bury it. And because it is rare, it must be protected. That is where many chosen ones lose strength. They finally recognize the gift, but they keep giving everyone access to it. They keep explaining sacred things to people who only want to debate. They keep pouring into people who only know how to take. They keep mistaking guilt for guidance. They keep thinking love means availability, even when their spirit is begging for boundaries. So the next part is not just about what you carry, it is about how to protect it, because rare things do not survive in careless hands. Sacred assignments cannot be handled with old patterns, and if no one on earth has what you have in the exact way you have it, then you must stop treating your presence like something common. You must learn who deserves access. You must learn what drains the signal. You must learn how to stop apologizing for becoming unavailable to what was destroying your peace. You must learn how to guard the gift without closing your heart. Because the world does not need a burnt-out version of you. It does not need the version of you that says yes while your spirit is collapsing. It does not need the version of you that performs strength while quietly losing your light. It needs the version of you that is clear, protected, honest, awake, and aligned. That is the version that carries the assignment. And that is where we go next. Because once you understand that what you carry is rare, the next question is not, how do I prove it? The next question is, how do I protect it? And this is where many chosen ones lose strength. Not because they are weak, not because they are confused, not because they do not love God, or life, or truth, or their purpose, but because they keep giving sacred access to people, places, habits, conversations, and patterns that were never meant to touch what is holy inside them. You can recognize the gift and still lose energy. You can understand the calling and still feel drained. You can know you are different and still keep handing your deepest parts to people who only know how to consume them. So listen carefully. Rare things cannot be treated like common things. A rare jewel is not thrown into the street. A sacred letter is not handed to everyone who asks a question. A flame that survived the storm is not placed in the middle of careless winds just to prove that it can keep burning. And what is inside you has survived too much to be handled casually now. There are people who love access to your light, but do not respect your limits. There are people who enjoy your wisdom, but dismiss your wounds. There are people who come to you when they need comfort, clarity, encouragement, and presence. But when you are the one who needs care, they suddenly become distant, busy, or confused. And for a long time, you may have called that love. You may have thought love meant always answering, always explaining, always forgiving without boundaries, always being available, always carrying the emotional weight in the room, always understanding people who never try to understand you. But chosen one, love without wisdom becomes self-abandonment. Mercy without boundaries becomes exhaustion. Compassion without discernment becomes access for people who have no intention of honoring what they receive. And you are entering a season where you cannot afford to keep confusing access with love. This does not mean you become cold. It does not mean you reject everyone. It does not mean you walk around suspicious, guarded, and closed. That is not healing. That is another kind of prison. It means you begin to ask a deeper question. Does this person strengthen what heaven placed in me, or do they only benefit from it? Does this environment make my spirit clearer, or does it make my inner signal harder to hear? Does this conversation bring truth, peace, and alignment, or does it pull me back into confusion, guilt, and old versions of myself? Does this connection respect the version of me that is becoming whole? Or does it only love the version of me that was easy to control? These questions are not selfish. They are stewardship, because what you carry has a purpose, and if you keep pouring it into places that only drain it, you will not have strength left for the assignment you were actually sent to fulfill. This is why guilt rises when you begin to protect yourself. When you stop answering every message immediately, guilt rises. When you stop explaining your decisions to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, guilt rises. When you no longer laugh at things that offend your spirit, guilt rises. When you need quiet instead of chaos, guilt rises. When you choose peace over being needed, guilt rises. And that guilt will try to tell you that you are becoming selfish. But you are not becoming selfish. You are becoming responsible. There is a difference. Selfishness says, only I matter. Responsibility says, what was placed in me matters too. Selfishness says, I do not care who I hurt. Responsibility says, I cannot keep hurting myself to prove that I care. Selfishness says, I owe nothing to anyone. Responsibility says, I must give from alignment, not from emptiness. Chosen one, you are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to outgrow rooms that only knew how to celebrate your survival, but not your healing. You are allowed to stop giving full access to people who only respect you when you are useful. You are allowed to become quieter while you are becoming clearer. You are allowed to be misunderstood by those who were never willing to know you deeply. You are allowed to love people and still no longer carry them. You are allowed to forgive and still not return. You are allowed to become unavailable to anything that requires you to betray the person heaven is forming in you. And you do not need to apologize for becoming whole. Let that sentence move through you. You do not need to apologize for becoming whole. There is a part of you that still wants permission from people who benefited from your broken boundaries. There is a part of you that still wants them to understand. There is a part of you that still hopes if you explain it gently enough, carefully enough, lovingly enough, they will finally say, I see you. I understand why you need to change. But some people will never bless the boundary that removes their access. Some people will call your healing pride because they preferred your wounds. Some people will call your peace distance because they were addicted to your availability. Some people will call your clarity coldness because they were comfortable with your confusion. So you must stop waiting for people who benefited from the old you to approve the becoming of the new you. That approval may never come, and if it never comes, you must still obey the truth in your spirit. This is where protection begins. Not with anger, not with revenge, not with dramatic announcements, but with quiet decisions. You stop entering conversations that always leave you spiritually heavier. You stop feeding explanations to people who only use them as new material for argument. You stop letting guilt be the voice that makes your choices. You stop calling every open door a divine opportunity when some doors are only distractions wearing the clothing of possibility. You start noticing what drains the signal, because yes, chosen one, your gift has a signal. When you are aligned, you feel it. Your thoughts become cleaner, your spirit becomes steadier. You can sense what belongs and what does not. You do not need to force clarity, because clarity begins to rise from within. You feel more present, more honest, more awake. But when something is draining the signal, you feel that too. Your thoughts become scattered, your energy becomes heavy, your peace becomes fragile, your inner knowing becomes faint. You begin second-guessing things you already knew. You feel pulled back into old fear, old guilt, old performance, old survival. That is information. Do not ignore it. The first thing you must learn is who strengthens your signal and who weakens it. The second thing you must learn is what environments make your spirit feel clear and what environments make your spirit feel contaminated. The third thing you must learn is which version of yourself appears around certain people. Because some people do not bring out your truth. They bring out your trauma response. Around them, you over-explain. You shrink. You perform. You become careful with every word. You monitor their mood. You abandon your own peace to keep the atmosphere stable. That is not connection. That is captivity with familiar faces. And you were not formed through all those dark seasons just to keep living in emotional captivity. You were formed for freedom. So here is the inner action I want you to take, without moving, without writing, without doing anything outside yourself. In your mind, imagine the rare thing inside you as a small flame in a quiet room. Do not make it dramatic. Do not force anything. Just see it there. This flame is not loud, it is steady. It is the part of you that survived, the part that still knows, the part that still believes, the part that still carries mercy, the part that still wants truth, the part that still remembers who you were before the world became so heavy. Now imagine every draining connection, every old pattern, every voice of guilt, every place that keeps pulling you away from yourself as wind outside that room. Not people to hate, not enemies to attack, just wind. And inside your spirit, say this quietly: the flame is sacred. The wind does not get to decide whether it lives. Let that be the command. The flame is sacred. The wind does not get to decide whether it lives. This is how protection begins inside you. You do not need to fight every wind. You do not need to explain the flame to the wind. You do not need to convince the wind to become gentle. You simply stop opening every window. That is wisdom. That is maturity. That is stewardship. And this is where your next level begins. Because protection alone is not enough. A protected gift must also be understood. You must know what you carry, not in vague terms, not in mystical language that sounds beautiful but changes nothing, but in a way you can recognize in your real life. So ask yourself inside your own mind, slowly and honestly, what pain do I keep being drawn to heal in others? What kind of person always seems to find me when they are lost? What injustice makes something rise in me? What truth do I keep sensing before other people are ready to admit it? What did I need when I was hurting that I now feel called to become for someone else? These questions matter because calling often hides inside repeated burden. The thing that breaks your heart may be connected to the thing you are here to help restore. The thing you survived may become the language you use to rescue someone else from silence. The thing you never received may become the thing you learn to carry with unusual purity. The place where you were wounded may become the place where your wisdom becomes medicine. This does not mean you rush. It does not mean you force a mission. It does not mean you turn every painful memory into a public story before it is healed. No. Some things are still sacred. Some things need time. Some things are not meant to be shared with everyone. But it does mean nothing was wasted. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the rejection, not the years where you felt behind, not the prayers you whispered when no one knew you were barely holding yourself together, not the lonely nights, not the moments where you had to choose not to become what hurt you. None of it was wasted. A seed does not understand the tree while it is still underground. It only knows pressure, darkness, and silence. But the life inside it is not confused. The life inside it knows where to move. It moves downward before it moves upward. It forms roots before it forms branches. It learns hidden strength before visible fruit. And chosen one, that has been your story. You were not delayed because your life had no direction. You were rooted. You were not hidden because you had no value. You were protected. You were not buried because heaven forgot your name. You were being developed beneath the surface. And now, as the roots become stronger, your life will require a different kind of obedience. Not the obedience of striving, not the obedience of proving, not the obedience of chasing every opportunity, the obedience of alignment. That means you stop saying yes to what your spirit has already rejected. You stop calling panic a sign. You stop calling pressure a calling. You stop calling guilt guidance. You stop calling chaos passion. You stop calling old cycles destiny. Alignment feels different. Alignment may challenge you, but it does not destroy your peace. Alignment may stretch you, but it does not require self-betrayal. Alignment may make you nervous, but it will also feel clean. There is a clean feeling when something is truly assigned to you, even if it is big, even if it scares you, even if it requires growth. Underneath the fear, there is a quiet yes. That quiet yes matters. Learn to honor it, and learn to honor the quiet no, because not every opportunity is yours. Not every relationship is yours. Not every request is yours. Not every battle is yours. Not every room is yours. Not every person who needs help has been assigned to your hands. You can care without carrying. You can love without losing yourself. You can be compassionate without becoming consumed. You can be chosen without becoming constantly available. This is the maturity of the rare gift. At first, the chosen one wants to save everyone. Then the chosen one learns that some people do not want healing. They want access. Some do not want truth. They want attention. Some do not want growth. They want someone to keep them comfortable in the same pattern. And when you finally understand that, you stop pouring sacred oil into containers with holes. You stop confusing need with assignment. You stop confusing pity with purpose. You stop confusing being wanted with being called. This is important because the next season of your life cannot be built on the exhaustion of your old one. The next season requires the version of you that is clear, the version of you that is awake, the version of you that can say no without hatred, the version of you that can say yes without fear, the version of you that can be loving and still be unavailable to manipulation, the version of you that can be humble and still know what heaven placed inside you is not small. And if your spirit has felt stirred by the idea of clearing the noise around your dormant brilliance, remember what was shared earlier. The 7-minute ritual is available through the link in the description and the pinned comment, only if you feel led to explore it. Do not force it. Do not move from pressure. Move from resonance. And if you do explore it, use the correct link so you are not pulled toward imitations that do not carry the same support, bonuses, or guarantee. But even with any tool, any ritual, any practice, the deeper work remains this. You must stop living like your gift is common. You must stop placing your calling in the hands of people who do not honor your becoming. You must stop letting old guilt govern new obedience. You must stop asking everyone to understand what heaven only needed you to obey. Now take this inward for a moment. You do not have to move your body. You do not have to close your eyes. You do not have to perform anything. Just let your inner attention turn toward the version of you that has been waiting behind the noise. Imagine that version of you standing behind a door made of light. Not far away, not unreachable, close. That version of you is not perfect. That version is not loud. That version is not trying to impress anyone. But that version is clear, whole, steady, honest, awake. And in their hands, there is a sealed letter. Your name is on it. Not the name people called you when they misunderstood you. Not the name pain gave you. Not the name rejection gave you. Not the name shame tried to attach to you. Your true name, the name heaven knows. The name connected to your assignment. The name connected to the part of you that never died. Now imagine that letter opening, not with force, but with readiness. Inside it is not a new identity. It is the truth of who you have been becoming all along. It says your sensitivity was never a mistake. It says your discernment was never imagination. It says your pain was not wasted. It says your delay was not denial. It says your hiddenness was not rejection. It says your voice still matters. It says your light still lives. It says the rare thing inside you is not leaving. It says what heaven placed in you is still alive. Let that settle. What heaven placed in you is still alive. What heaven placed in you is still alive. What heaven placed in you is still alive. There are seasons where you will not feel strong. That does not mean the gift is gone. There are days when clarity feels distant. That does not mean you have lost your path. There are moments when old fear rises. That does not mean you are back where you started. Healing is not always loud. Awakening is not always dramatic. Alignment is not always instant. Sometimes the most sacred changes happen quietly, like roots moving beneath soil, like dawn arriving before the world notices, like a flame becoming steady after the wind finally stops. So do not despise the quiet work. Do not despise the small decisions. Do not despise the boundary no one claps for. Do not despise the private healing. Do not despise the day you choose peace over proving. Do not despise the moment you stop explaining yourself to people who were never listening. Those moments are not small. They are the architecture of your next life. Because one day, someone will meet you in the strength you are building now. They will hear your voice after you finally stop silencing it. They will be comforted by the wisdom you almost gave up on. They will be helped by the clarity you protected. They will be reminded that survival does not have to make a person bitter. It can make them deep. It can make them merciful. It can make them powerful in a way that does not need to dominate. That is what you carry, not just a gift, a witness. Your life will become evidence that pain did not win. Your presence will become evidence that rejection did not define you. Your voice will become evidence that silence was not the end. Your peace will become evidence that chaos no longer owns you. Your becoming will become evidence that heaven can hide something, form it, protect it, and reveal it at the right time. And this is why no one on earth has what you have. Because no one has your exact road. No one has your exact scars. No one has your exact recovery. No one has your exact way of seeing. No one has your exact combination of mercy and fire, softness and strength, silence and voice, wounds and wisdom, hiddenness and calling. There may be billions of people, but there is only one path that has formed you this way. There is only one assignment that fits the exact shape of your life. There is only one voice that carries the sound your healing created. There is only one presence that enters a room the way yours does. There is only one you, and that is not a slogan. It is a responsibility. So from this moment forward, stop treating your difference like a defect. Stop calling your depth a burden. Stop apologizing for your discernment. Stop shrinking your light to keep people comfortable in darkness. Stop returning to places that require you to abandon the truth you have fought so hard to recover. You are allowed to walk differently. You are allowed to choose differently. You are allowed to need peace. You are allowed to protect your inner world. You are allowed to become who you were always being formed to be. And for those who feel led, when it is safe and natural for you, place this sentence in the comments so your spirit can mark this moment with agreement. I protect what heaven placed in me, not because a comment has power by itself, but because sometimes your spirit needs to hear your own agreement. Sometimes the declaration matters. Sometimes you need to stop only thinking the truth and begin letting it leave your mouth, your heart, your choices, and your life. I protect what heaven placed in me. Let that become more than a sentence. Let it become the way you answer old guilt. Let it become the way you step away from draining access. Let it become the way you choose quiet over chaos. Let it become the way you remember that the gift is sacred. And now, receive this. May the part of you that was buried begin to breathe again. May the part of you that was silenced begin to speak with wisdom. May the part of you that was drained begin to recover strength. May the part of you that was confused begin to recognize the clean sound of truth. May the part of you that was ashamed of being different finally understand that your difference was carrying design. May every false identity placed on you by pain, rejection, betrayal, and misunderstanding lose its authority over your life. May your sensitivity become discernment. May your discernment become direction. May your direction become obedience. May your obedience become fruit. May your fruit become shelter for someone who has been praying for proof that healing is possible. You are not too much. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are not common. You are not empty. You are not lost. You are carrying something rare. And now you know why it had to be protected. Now you know why certain doors closed. Now you know why certain people could not stay. Now you know why the delay was not denial. Now you know why your childhood brilliance mattered. Now you know why your inner knowing would not go silent. Now you know why your pain did not destroy the deepest part of you. Now you know why heaven trusted you with something so specific. Chosen one, out of 8.2 billion people, no one has what you have in the exact way you have it. No one can copy your formation. No one can steal your assignment. No one can replace your voice. No one can carry your spiritual fingerprint. No one can become the version of you that your life has been shaping in secret. So do not hide what was meant to heal. Do not bury what was meant to bring light. Do not give common access to a sacred assignment. Do not wait for everyone to understand before you obey. Walk with humility, but do not shrink. Walk with mercy, but do not abandon wisdom. Walk with love, but do not surrender your peace to people who only know how to take. Walk with courage, even if your voice shakes at first. Walk with clarity, even if the path opens one step at a time. Because the world does not need a copy of someone else. It needs the part of you that survived. It needs the wisdom your pain produced. It needs the light that did not die. It needs the voice that is finally ready. It needs the rare thing heaven placed in you. And from this moment forward, may you never again call it a curse. May you never again call it weakness. May you never again call it too much. May you never again call it strange. Call it what it is, a sacred signature, a hidden assignment, a protected flame, a living witness, a gift formed in secret. And now, chosen one, it is time to protect it, honor it, and let it become what it was always meant to become through you.